Welcome to the Halving Report. We're joined today by Flo, who runs the account on Twitter, Love is Bitcoin. Thanks for joining us on the show.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. We're about 207,000 blocks away from the next halving. Bitcoin just underwent its last halving about 3 weeks ago. How are you feeling about Bitcoin right now? Do you think it trends up or down from here?
I'm perma-bully, so I'm always happy about Bitcoin. I'm always bullish, and yeah, I'm just happy to see what Bitcoin will do to surprise us next.
So yeah, no, and one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. So if
Yeah.
it goes up or down, we still buy. How did you first get started into Bitcoin?
Well, I live in Latin America, in Chile, and this was back in 2017. And I actually got orange pilled by my dad and my brother. We well, my I wa- we were all living together in my parents' home, and my dad for like 25 years now or something like that has been working for the same company, which is a German company. So we always had to deal with this thing of moving money around and having to convert it into our local currency and stuff like that. And at some point, we were really tired about the banking systems. They're like a pain in the ass. And yeah, my dad started looking for alternatives. And he discovered that with Bitcoin, he could like take control of the whole process and actually give himself like a 10% raise just by switching into the system. And I remember this was like, well, kind of like when the block size war was ending. So he waited for that to settle down, and then he said, like, yeah, this thing is worth trying. And since then, we have been like a very Bitcoiner family.
Wow, that's awesome. So the whole family's Bitcoiners. Whole family full of them.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm jealous. So okay, and how long have you been posting for Love is Bitcoin?
Yeah, I started working with Lobby's Bitcoin because I work there, but there's a team behind it. Since about almost a year now, I think. I don't exactly remember the date, but it's been like almost a year. But Love is Bitcoin is older than that. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why I always say that we are all Livy. Livy will continue to live when I'm like moved on to another project or something like that. So there were other girls before me that were like running the account, but they didn't want to be public. So when I entered the team, George, who is like the founder of this project, he told me like, would you be open to like share your face and your name or whatever, like do this content? Because we wanted to switch into creating more content, or different content. And yeah, I accepted because I'm actually an artist. So I was already having part-time jobs in like marketing and social media and stuff like that. And at the moment, I really wanted a Bitcoiner job. So this, like, it was perfect match for me. Even though we play this role, like Lily has this personality, she's super outgoing and all of that. I'm not like that in real life. So it's been a whole process to learn and to try to be the best Lily I can be.
I think it's important to have that personal presence on X or Twitter, so people can even know who they're talking to. So that's good that you guys you were able to join the team for that. I think I remember when they made the post, or maybe it was you that made the post, that to welcome you to the team. Um, that's awesome. How do you approach creating content? How do you approach content creation on X?
Do you mean how do I handle it right now, or how did I came to that?
How do you plan your posts? And
Mhm.
yeah, I guess maybe the evolution of it. How was it back in the day, and then maybe to now?
Yeah, well, before Lobby's Bitcoin, I was working for like a really serious company here in Chile for like products. So it was very different, almost zero memes and all like, oh, the technology of this cream will make you look younger forever and stuff like that. So it was really, really like the thing I struggled the most was like because memes give you freedom, but also they are hard when you have to like make it all the time. So I think that was the hardest thing for me. But luckily, the whole team helps me. Like I'm not the one, if I'm not posting like everything you see there, because it's too much. So what I'm focusing more now, actually, in the past couple of months, is on creating these like pictures and videos and trying to be supportive of the brands we work with. And yeah, I'm more focused on that right now. But yeah, I always love to play, and if I see something funny, like to play with that, it's always super fun.
That's awesome. Do you also post for Noster?
Yeah, we share like everything in, like we have a TikTok, Instagram, Nostr. We're on every platform that we can find.
Okay, so there's a few people, and of course you have the team, but there's a few people that'll post for Love is Bitcoin account then on all of those, right?
Yeah. So some people focus more on like dealing with the sponsors or like the affiliates or the brands we wanna promote. Other people focus more. For example, there's Dani. Like she started the podcast Heartbeat a couple of months ago, and she's very focused on that. So yeah, we have like divided our energies, but yeah, I am not posting alone.
Okay, nice, nice. And I think that's a great idea. I like the affiliating that you do too, to kind of have everything maybe on one website or one place. You know what? Actually, we were at a conference not too long ago. Do you also work for, or is that a company that you guys are sponsored by, the
Yeah.
Panties for Bitcoin?
So we work together. Panties for Bitcoin and Love is Bitcoin have a very good relationship together. But me personally, I also work directly for Panties, and we have like a, yeah, it's very, the line is like kind of not very hard there, but we collaborate a lot. And for Panties for Bitcoin, I work also like in marketing and stuff like that.
Nice, nice. And so I remember we were at a conference and I actually saw some of your guys' merch that you guys were giving out there. I thought that was cool because again, I've been following on Twitter or X now for quite a while, so I was like, oh, no way. And then I even got this sticker. I don't know if you can see it. I gotta put that on my computer here. What other projects are you working on? Are you looking to work on? Anything coming up?
Yeah, well, with Panties for Bitcoin, we're going to be in um, Calgary for Bitcoin Rodeo, that's in
Nice.
Canada, and we're going to be in Nashville. I'm trying to be there personally too, because traveling from home is really hard sometimes.
For sure.
And if I'm there, like, of course, I will do some actions also for Love is Bitcoin. And I know that luckily the team in a new piece of art that I'm collaborating with Polymer. It's a company, yeah, doing they do a lot of stuff, but they do this like banknotes for every conference, that there are like different patterns and stuff, very beautiful. And we are working on a piece that is really, I'm very happy about it, because it's really like, we're talking about separation of money and state, so we're playing with that concept, but also it's very borderless, because the actual paper, I do physical art, it's going to be printed by Polymer in Europe and then shipped to me. Then I analog print, like with the screen printing, then I ship it again. So we're playing with a lots of concepts with that one. Yeah, I'm very excited about that.
Nice, nice. So you have two conferences planned this year, the one in Calgary and in Nashville.
Yeah.
Are there any others that you guys are going to be at, or even P4B or Panties for Bitcoin
Yeah, Panty for Bitcoin will be also in Montreal. Now this one is very, I think in a couple of weeks now.
next week?
Um, yeah, next week. Yeah, they will be there. I'm not going to be able to be with the team, but uh, and I want to try to go to a conference in Europe this year, and second half of the year, but I'm not sure if I'll make it. I'm trying to see everything and which one to go. I was really looking forward to. I mean, I was interested in the one they made in Innsbruck, but I don't know why it got cancelled. And so now maybe last year I was in Amsterdam and in Lugano Plan B, and I really love those. So maybe try those again. I don't know. Just I have to see, but I would love to go.
That's awesome. And how was your experiences at those conferences?
It's very cool. Well, in the past conferences, I was more focused on my art, like displaying the art, being there at the art gallery, like talking to people. So I see it from that perspective, maybe more like how the art was displayed, or did people enjoy it, or what comments I received. And what I love the most is that many people say like, I'm not an art person, but since we're like into Bitcoin, I want to see everything that's going on in the conference. And then you start talking, and for me, it's like, why do you say you're not like an art person? Like everyone can enjoy art or something pretty or something smart or something, I don't know, like whatever calls your attention. Like you don't need to have the green art or something like that to enjoy it. And it's been fun to see them realize that they can they don't have to justify why they like or don't like something. And yeah, that's something I really like.
I enjoy art. What kind of art are you into?
Well, I'm a classical trained artist, so I studied 3 years in a classical school, and then I went into the university to learn like more of maybe modern concepts. And today, well, I really, really like doing things that require you to learn a technique. Like I like drawing, I like screen printing, etching, like very classical techniques. But everything I do from like 2020 until now is been focused in Bitcoin. So it's like I try to make maybe this crossover of like maybe classical kind of aesthetics with this digital new thing that, yeah. And for me, the most amazing thing is to think about like how will Bitcoin shape our society, and that means everything, like the cultural side of it, and yeah, everything can will have an impact, you know.
For sure. No, that's awesome. What do you see as some of the most significant advantages of Bitcoin?
Well, the first significant advantage, I think, is like it was a use case for us. This possibility of being like this money being borderless, permissionless. I can just move it back to my country, and then I can, if I need to, I convert it here, or try to find people to exchange like directly peer to peer. I think that's something that's like I don't think we have seen like the impact this will have in our society yet. Like I really think it's way too early. But this is already super amazing when you experience, because sometimes maybe you have not been exposed to needing Bitcoin, you know, like you discovered it and you use it as a store of value or investment or whatever. But when it comes to this real use case, it's like it blows your mind. Like, yeah, this thing is impressive.
Definitely. So I'm in Canada, and here we have e-transfer. And you know what? Maybe everybody has e-transfer. I'm not sure. I haven't been everywhere yet, but to think about sending money to like across the world, I wouldn't think to e-transfer somebody across the world because I'm not sure that they even know what that is. Maybe they do. And I remember, so my like dad was talking about sending money to somebody all the way out in the Philippines, and all I can think of is the best way to do that is with Bitcoin. You can send them Bitcoin, and then of course they could do whatever they need to do with that Bitcoin if they need to transfer it into something else and make some payments or whatnot. But it really is a money, like you said too, that's borderless. You can use it anywhere. So yeah, no, that's definitely one of the big advantages of it, because who knows what kind of um, troubles you might have with sending money to somebody across the world, especially if you're using a fiat currency. So you mentioned you have some family members that are Bitcoiners. So did you get into Bitcoin at the same time as them, or did it take you maybe a little bit longer, or you guys all got into it at the same time?
It was kind of at the same time, but I would say like
Oh,
the first hardcore Bitcoiner was my dad. I don't even know if he touched any shitcoin or like maybe just a little. Like it was super clear maybe in his mind like the potential of this technology. Then at that time we were all living together, and my brother was studying software engineer. So I think that he was very, very interested in like seeing like how this thing works. So I think they both complemented super nicely, and we had the we used to have dinner like almost every day together. Like if someone had something to do, okay, we will skip it. Not, but it was like very common for us to sit there and like have dinner as a family together. And so in those days, like we were talking about Bitcoin nonstop, you know. And I remember that for me it was like, okay, I will do whatever you guys do. I will not like I remember feeling like I'm not going to understand this thing. Like it's technology. I'm not good with computers. Like I'm like, no, technology hates me. No. But I kept like we were always very we were very low time preference kind of people. So that aspect came like a bit easy. And so every time I could save something, like I was studying and I was working on whatever job, and I would put it into Bitcoin. Like what, like ask my family, like what do I do with this? I don't want to spend it. No, put it into Bitcoin. So for the first couple of years, I didn't even bother learning. It was more like absorbing it and just saving in Bitcoin. And I remember that when pandemic hit, so I found myself like I was done with my studies. I had more time. I was very disappointed at like having studied arts. Like, what am I going to do with this now? And just remember like maybe Bitcoin is something worth like doing art. My family was encouraging me like this is something amazing. You should do art about this. It just started clicking, but very slowly. Like I just started doing, and I think the more art I do, the more I understand about Bitcoin. It's a way like how my brain processes this thing. Uh, yeah, I will say it took me a lot. Like I had the support of the family. I was doing maybe the Bitcoiner thing, but not really like in my brain, you know, like not really absorbing it. And when that pandemic hit, then I started doing some art, and my family said like now you have to read your own books, like we have taught you enough, like now you have to do your own work. So I started learning and reading, and yeah, then it was like go deeper into the rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a big rabbit hole. And I like to say that actually it's a the rabbit hole that like leads to all rabbit holes. Like everything leads back to Bitcoin. You can really relate almost anything to it. Um, no, so that's good. And you know what, with Bitcoin too, it really makes you realize that, you know, like it allows you to have that freedom, to work on what you want to work on. Once, like if you have a fiat job and you don't know about Bitcoin, you're maybe thinking about just your job all the time, and you don't realize everything that you're missing around you. And then once you get into Bitcoin, you really realize how important time is and how important your time is, and that you should value it. And whatever it is you want to do, you should do that. You should do what you're passionate about, because again, you need to value your time, and you can really do anything. And I think Bitcoin helps you realize that. I think Bitcoin helps you realize everything around you was maybe a lie to maybe get you to do a certain thing a certain way. But with Bitcoin, you're allowed to now think about what you're doing, and you can really go for what you want to do. And in your case, it's art. And then, of course, educating people and helping others to get to where you are. I'm sure that's kind of what you like to do as well. Nice. Volatility it has been a consistent factor in Bitcoin's price. How do you perceive the volatility? And you mentioned earlier you're a perma bull.
Yeah, one Bitcoin is equal one Bitcoin. Yeah, no, I don't focus. I mean, I think the thing is like when I had like this the big crash in 2020. Remember, like
Oh yeah.
March, I think. I wasn't even bothered. Like it was, but in my head it was like, but who cares if it's going to go up after this? Like I have to stack more. I think volatility hit me harder later on because I kind of took some not very good like I wouldn't advise on people doing this, but I kind of did how is it called, like an attack on fiat. So I kind of had like a loan, and
Oh
then I
yeah.
bought Bitcoin. So yeah, it kind of got harder after that. Like before that, I wouldn't even care. I was like just saving and saving and saving. But then again, it's like just work and wait. And I see like what I worked on those early years, how much it has appreciated right now just by not spending much and keep working and keep
Yep.
saving. And so it's like I'm receiving an award on that time, is the feeling of like so yeah, I don't struggle that much with volatility. I would love to see like the hyper Bitcoinization because I want a Bitcoiner world, but yeah, more because of that.
Did it end up working out, or did you
It
get
will
into
always
some
work
trouble with
out.
it? Yeah, for sure.
No. Because the thing is, it's really, really hard I mean, for me, it's really hard to make these calculations. Like, because I wouldn't be able to have bought that many sats at that time because I didn't have more money. But then again, the price wasn't the best one. So, I don't know. I really, really don't know. But at some point, like, it made me work harder. It made me have a second job. It made me make decisions that maybe if I hadn't had it, I wouldn't have made. So for me, yeah, I think I would have never been able to stack as hard as I have done, even though the price wasn't like I didn't have like good luck with that timing.
So you loan around like 3,000, and again, one Bitcoin equals one
No,
Bitcoin. But in terms of fiat, like it was around 3,000 it dipped to, right, in
no,
2020?
I wish. No, 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 no.
Oh, um,
No, in that case, it would be very easy. Nothing. No, it was, but yeah.
I mean, if you got into it at that time, you did get into it before it did do that big run up to I think 69,000 for the first time. So that is good. And you're able to see it drop, and then you're able to get you're more confident about the investment that you made because you've been in it for a while. So definitely still a good time. But of course, COVID was a black swan event. So like, I'm sure it'd be tough for anybody to be 100% confident on what they're owning unless of course they've already been in it for the past 10 years or like they really understand it. So that's good. And again, the longer you're in Bitcoin, the more you understand, the stronger your conviction becomes. um,
Mhm.
so that's good. And so how do you think others might perceive the volatility? So again, like me and you, I'm sure we see Bitcoin move up and down, and like there's a meme that I like, and it's like Bitcoiners when the price goes up, Bitcoiners when the price goes down, and it's the same reaction because if it goes down, we buy more. If it goes up, we buy more, right? But how do you think others might perceive the volatility from it, and how do you think it affects like the adoption of Bitcoin?
Yeah, well, I think it's part of like I think the fiat system is training you to stay there. So you don't see people feel that the money is devaluating, but they don't see like what causes it.
Hmm.
So they feel like safe with fiat money. And when they see something that's moving like this, like with too much volatility, it's oh, that's risky. And they don't zoom out. So yeah, I think it affects adoption less like right now that I think will have like a bull market. I mean, right after the halving is like the best moment to orange pill someone because then they will see the volatility
Yeah.
upwards. But otherwise, yeah, I remember orange pilling a friend and she got like nothing, like $500 or something like that. And then it went really down. It was like in the last cycle at the top. And then, yeah, she's like, no, I realize I'm a very conservative person. So I won't buy this thing. And yeah, I think it's it's bad for adoption. But then again, you don't want. I mean, the other day I was reading someone like saying we want slow adoption. It's better than when we have like this really fast and like the system. Everything has to grow in order to actually be like adoption. So. Volatility might also be not like a bad. Maybe it's a feature that's protecting the language itself from itself. I don't know.
For sure. And you know what? I got into it a bit after you. Maybe like a year or two after you. But I got into Bitcoin around 40,000 USD, maybe a bit before that, but I can't remember the actual price of it. But I got to see it when I first got it. I got to see it go all the way up to 69,000, and I was up in my position and all happy about it. And then it goes down, it went down a little bit more, and then it bounced back up, but then it went down. And then, of course, the FTX stuff happened, and it went all the way down to 16,000. But I've been able to see it go up, and then I've been able to see it go down. Never sold any, of course, and I just kept buying more and more and more. And now that we're back up at 60,000, mid 60s, I wish, or I don't wish for it to go down, but like if it goes down again now, I'm gonna be that much more ready to go in and buy the dip, sell everything I got, go get some more Bitcoin. But that, it does take time. You do have to be there, experience the volatility to really understand maybe why it's volatile or what fiat or what money is. But there's so much to learn with it. And the longer you're in it, again, the stronger your conviction will be. So yeah, I agree with you. For others, they might see the volatility and they may get scared because they don't understand it. But all it takes, like you said too, like right after the halving is the best time to orange pill somebody. So all it takes is for you to drop that seed and then somebody see it on the news later that Bitcoin is at this amount, and then they start calling you and say, okay, wait, tell me a bit more about this Bitcoin. How do you enjoy orange pilling people? I'm sure you do, but are you orange pilling a lot of people? Do you struggle with it?
No, I struggle with it. I find it really hard because I think you can't really orange pill someone. It's like it has to make sense in their own mind. So it's weird. Like you can bring it up, you can try to teach in a way or whatever, but if it doesn't make sense in their heads, it's like nothing happened. But again, I also
Yeah.
think that if we don't share it, like for me, it's something that I would feel very like selfish if I don't share it. Like I have this secret and everyone can benefit from it, and then I'm keeping it to myself. So that's why I like to try to orange peel, but I really find it very hard, and people do stupid shit and then they kind of blame it into you, and it's like I never told you that. So for example, we had orange peel like a couple of friends of my parents, and then the husband went on into gambling with shitcoins, and I don't know if he lost everything or whatever. So then he was like, this Bitcoin thing is a really scammy thing. I was like, no, you're stupid.
Yeah.
You did stupid shit that nobody advised you to do. Like we actually advised you the opposite. Like, and then you went on and did it, and then you expected to be like the super genius who's going to get it right. And yeah, so then they are, yeah, and that creates, that's the thing, when you orange peel someone like too fast or with someone who's not willing to learn or whatever, they make these mistakes and then they blame it into Bitcoin, and then they are the most hardest maybe to convince. Like I don't think it's hard to take them again and to trust this thing and give it a try again. So yeah, orange filling is not easy.
That makes a lot of sense. One of my pet peeves almost is people, a lot of normies or people associate Bitcoin with shitcoins or associate Bitcoin with other cryptos. And of course, it's like, no, you're getting it wrong. Bitcoin is its own machine, and cryptos has a team behind it. Crypto has somebody that can rug pull it or turn off their system at any time. Like what's stopping them from doing that, right? And like you too, I don't feel bad whenever you know what, I might talk about it a lot with friends, family, and they might be sick of hearing it from me, but I never feel bad about bringing it up to them because, like you, like I feel like I do have a bit of a responsibility to help the people, my loved ones around me, help them. And it's not that I want them to go and buy Bitcoin. No, not that at all. Is I want them to go and just learn about it because they can make that decision by themselves. They can decide to buy it after they've learned about it. But I think it's important for, and of course it's important, but I think it's important for all of them to learn about it. And like you said too, you can't really orange pill somebody. They have to want it for themselves. They have to orange pill themselves and really want to make a change in order for them to maybe see it or appreciate it. And then I also like to warn everybody that I talk to about it is if you start looking into this, you're going to get all these different shit coins thrown at you. There's going to be a lot of them. Dogecoin, Ethereum, Solana, all of these, but you know what, and random animals, like they just make shit coins out of nothing now. So I warn them, I say, you're going to get all these thrown at you and you really have to stay focused on Bitcoin only because once you understand Bitcoin, you're going to understand these shit coins. You're going to get it. You're going to know that you don't want to get into these shit coins. Maybe once you understand Bitcoin, maybe you will do your little gambling if you want, but again, at least you're going to do it from a more educated stance than just thinking, okay, I'm going to go make money off of this because that's not the way to do it. You really have to, it's, I don't know, it's about growing your value, growing your um, portfolio, I guess, but not just gambling on crypto to make more fiat money. Um, People also say, okay, well, when do I sell it? And then I just ask them, well, what do you sell it for? Because there's no second best, right? Security is a big concern in the space too. What steps do you recommend for individuals to secure their holdings?
Well, I think security, it really depends on the stage you are at understanding Bitcoin and learning Bitcoin, because sometimes what we of course we will always like recommend you to take it out of the exchanges, to have your own hardware wallet and all of that. But if you're not careful with that, if you're not like really learning the steps and all, like you can make a mistake and lose everything. So it depends on how much time you want to spend into learning, which I hope it's a lot, and yeah, what stage that person is. So I think we have to always continue to tell people to take them out of the exchanges, because we have seen like the cows out there like no, you cannot trust anyone. Like it can be the most legit company and it's still not, like, don't trust, verify. So I would say that's the first step, like get a hardware wallet, learn how to use it, learn how to secure it. Then of course write your words on paper. That's the second step. Then the third step is of course write it down in, like, stamp it or like etch it or whatever it's called in metal. And then when you do that, you have to tell that person this piece of metal is your whole, like, it's like your treasure. Like everyone with this piece of metal will be able to take it. So they have to learn that they have to really take care and there is no possible recovery. Like, yeah, people's too used of these centralized systems where, like, why would I learn my password? I just write my email and I get it back, and yeah, so yeah, if someone is not prepared to face that, then yeah, take a step back, learn again, go slowly, but go like slow but like steady. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good advice. It is important to go at your own pace because you don't want to go into it too heavily and then you make a mistake somewhere and then you have a whole other issue that you're dealing with. And then yeah, for the exchange part, I've heard people are happy with Coinbase. I'm not happy with Coinbase. You know what? Fine, they're okay for now because they've helped people get into Bitcoin, get into the space and all, but of course you can't keep your stuff on Coinbase and what I like to say to people that think that it's okay to just hold all of their stuff on Coinbase or on other exchanges is, well, what happens if the government comes to that exchange and threatens them with a lawsuit or threatens to come after them if they don't give up your stuff or your coins or your keys? So of course that exchange is going to throw you to the government and say, you know what, I don't want to deal with this. Take his password, take his keys, his coins and everything. So it's definitely important to hold it by yourself. And that's also, I think, something that scares a lot of people, is to have all that responsibility to be their own bank. So you're right, you do need to go at it slowly and at your own pace, but stay steady with it and keep going at it, for sure. The concept of decentralization is a big factor in Bitcoin's philosophy. How important do you believe decentralization is for the future of finance, and do you see any challenges in maintaining it?
Yes, I think it's like the main thing maybe. This decentralization is exactly X. The problem with fiat is that it's centralized, so then it can be printed at will of the ones who are in charge. So I think it's one of them, even though I love that it's borderless, I love many of these characteristics. Decentralization is extremely important, and I think we have to do our best to keep protecting decentralization. Otherwise, we will end up with another name for a fiat system.
Definitely. Because, yeah, no, there's nothing stopping the people that are in charge of the centralized fiat system that we have now from manipulating it into their favor. And then, of course, they do it for the short term. They don't think about the long term, and then they leave it for somebody else to deal with. And by then, it's too late.
They don't have any incentives to worry about the future. They just want to get rich themselves in that moment. There is no, like, you would have to be, and I think everyone will be like corrupted
Yeah,
in that position. Like, it's because their incentives are wrong. Yeah.
for sure. No, no, definitely. And again, yeah, that's the biggest problem with the centralized system, is that a lot of people, unfortunately, don't have the right views or the right morals, I would say, for everybody around them. Like, I feel like a lot of Bitcoiners really do just care about everybody. So that's why you see people on Bitcoin X or Bitcoin Twitter or other platforms, they're trying to educate, they're trying to help bring as many people along with them as they can. And again, like we said earlier, we're not really telling people to buy it. We're telling people to study it, to really understand it, because it'll help them in life. It'll help them realize all the corruption that's gone on around them. And um, that's the saddest part, is how many people know something is wrong, but don't know why it's wrong or don't know what to do about it. And then, of course, there is an option. You know what? They can only control us because we use their money. So we have to use a different money. Looking ahead, what developments or milestones do you anticipate for Bitcoin in the next few years? Yeah,
This is a very hard question because, as I told you, like, I'm not very technical.
it's
Yeah,
okay,
but
me neither.
uh, I would say maybe we have to, well, we always have to be in, like, on top of decentralization, like, be aware of that. And what I'm seeing now is that I think we are in then they fight you stage. And I think they're attacking privacy because now, with these institutions like the ATF and all of that, they no longer can say like Bitcoin is for criminals. So
Right.
what they're attacking is privacy and self-custody and other aspects of it. So I think we have to be very, very aware of that and try our best to, like, not comply, stay stronger, like be the, like, I love this, how is it called, the tennis guy who wouldn't want to get his vaccine in COVID, do you remember? And he was like standing alone, and there people were like, you're not going to be able to go to the world tournament, then I don't go. Like be like have stronger convictions, like, yes, this can be bad for you in the short term. They wouldn't allow him to compete or whatever, which was he was, like, I don't know, one of the best of the world. And then it went away, and now he's competing again. And he was, how do you say, like true to himself, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. He didn't sell his soul, or he didn't sell. He stayed strong. Yeah, no, I agree. We're going to the Montreal conference next week. I was looking at the agenda, and one of the ones that I was interested in looking at was I can't remember the exact name or who was like hosting it, but the the session is to know your rights with self custody and know what you're allowed to do, know your rights, and like I think that plays into what you're saying. It's important
Mhm.
to kind of know what you're allowed to do, what the laws are, and all this, so that way when they do attack you, they do fight you, and try to lie to you and convince you of something, you know your rights, and you won't be fooled that easily this time around. And that definitely happened with COVID, where they tried to scare everybody. They tried to um, again, take away your rights by saying you're not allowed to go here or there or there if you don't get a vaccine. You can't see loved ones. You can't go to the hospital and see loved ones that are ill because maybe you didn't get the vaccine or the vaccines weren't out yet. So that was terrible. Just thinking about it. Of course, I'm sure COVID hurt a lot of people, like especially elderly and people who were prone to getting sick from it. So COVID definitely was a bad thing, but they definitely did do an attack on people's rights back then, and I don't think enough people were prepared to understand what they are and what they're not allowed to go do. And especially here in Canada, I'm sure you've maybe heard about it, but in Canada it was really bad. They fired people, they fired doctors, essential workers, just because they didn't want to get a vaccine. And you know what, doctors are the most educated. They know more than I do about this medicine, and why aren't they getting vaccinated?
Mhm.
So it's yeah, no, it's important to know your rights, what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do, because they are going to be in that fight us stage, and it's going to be important to know what you're allowed to hold and know how to maybe answer them when they come for you.
You know what? I think we have to go even one step further. Like, yeah, but these rights, these laws, they made them.
Right.
So maybe we have to change the law. Like if the law is stupid, why would I have to follow it? Because in my country, for example, for COVID, so what they did was in the space of the law, because the law allows that when a president or government tells that we are in this exceptional crisis moment, like government can like be on top of the law. So they can say and do and make you do things, and your rights don't matter because we are in this very critical situation. So I think this thing, well, for one important thing that I learned with COVID is that most people are willing to comply. Like most people will turn into the, I don't know, like you see this
They don't want any
science
trouble.
fiction. Yeah, people
Yeah.
will like they will follow the rules, whatever they are, easily. The other thing that I learned is that if the rule is stupid, then we have to change the rule. Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard. Like I'm not a strong person. Like I wouldn't imagine myself like physically defending myself. I don't know how to make this possible. Maybe we have to move to another country. I don't know. But we cannot comply. I think at this moment we cannot comply.
You're right. No, you're right. They made the rules and they told us what we have to follow. And then also, if people are going to listen to them when there's a crisis, they're going to start creating crises just to make sure people start listening to them. So it's important to question everything. Now, of course, like if in your job or in different scenarios, if you're talking from one person to another and you're questioning everything, maybe it gets a bit repetitive, but it's important to question if you're curious about why they're imposing these strict rules on you. It's important to question it. And it's important to think about it because, like you said, a lot of people just comply. But if people are just complying, then there's no questioning, and then there's no change that can be made because there's no need to make a change. So it is important to get people to start just thinking again, because a lot of people, life is tough for a lot of people right now, and they don't want it to be tougher. They want to just keep going by, and that makes sense. Like you can't blame them, but it is important to question it, and I think there will be a time where might have to fight for our freedoms, but who knows? Like you, I don't know how that's gonna look, but I think it might come. And when it does, I guess we have to be ready for it. But same, it's, you know what, if you are really gonna come after my rights, if you are gonna come after my money, my Bitcoin and everything else, then you know what, I might have to move. I also like to say countries are just another psyop too. Of course, a country is a country, but you know what? We're all human. This is our world. What makes me not allowed to go to this part of the world just because it's in this country or this person says that I can't? Like, it bothers me a little bit, countries, and all the like hate that goes on between countries and people, because again, at the end of the day, we're all humans and we should all be able to go to the same beach, go on the same hike, go to the same places. So, and these countries were created long before we were born. So it makes us think too, like, okay, wait, how did this all happen? And I think it's Bitcoin that's allowed me to think back into the past and just kind of take everything out layer by layer to just start realizing where we are, how did we get to this point? And then how do we move forward? How do we get change? How do we make the world a better place? And that's what I think Bitcoin really is about. What is a message that you may have for people who haven't found out about Bitcoin yet? Like, what would you say to help orange pill somebody new and get them started on their journey to financial freedom?
Okay, so a message for normies would
Yep.
be, um, yeah, well, I guess is to start questioning things, maybe. Like, I think it's a general step, like when you start questioning things, because if you're not trying to see the source of the problem, how are you going to fix the problem? So when you start questioning, maybe you will find like what is causing these problems. Like, we all are affected by inflation, we're all affected by many of these things. And to realize that and then follow your study and follow what you feel and what you learn, and trust in yourself, not in others, and you will find a solution. I think Bitcoin will come as a solution, like, so, like later or earlier. But yeah, the first thing is to try to find what's causing your problems, like what's the real origin of it.
That's a good question to, or that's a good point to get people to start thinking about. Because again, a lot of people know that something is wrong, but they don't know what's causing everything to be wrong. I would think that anybody you tell that to would start questioning maybe the government, maybe their money, maybe the whole system. And of course, that's what they should be questioning. And then again, us, the people, at the end of the day, we outnumber whoever is ruling us. So at the end of the day, they do want the masses to be happy. So we do need to kind of force their hand to make sure that they know that we want to be happy too. Because otherwise, if nobody's questioning, nobody's trying to get change, nothing will change, because they're just going to keep trying to profit wherever they can. Okay. What other platforms do you work on?
No, well, we are in all social media. With Panties for Bitcoin, we're not in all. Like, we're growing now, but with Love is Bitcoin, yeah, you can find us in all. We love when people send us messages or when people tag us in fun memes, and we are very happy to see that. And if you have like a Bitcoiner company, for example, you can reach out if you would like for us to promote it. We are focused in Bitcoin only, so hopefully a Bitcoin only company in whatever kind of thing you're developing. Like, we have, I don't know, people developing technologies or services or like products like merch, and yeah, everything. We want to be like the as you said at the beginning, like we want to be like this kind of place where other Bitcoiners can go and like check out many Bitcoiner brands in like one place.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I've seen it a few times, and that's what I've like noticed is it's going to be a hub where everybody can look at and just find a bunch of different resources for whichever resources that you get on there. Do you get like the things on your site, would it be, do you get like is it cheaper to buy these different products through your website than it would be
Yeah.
on the, yeah?
We usually have a discount. You can write down the code Love is Bitcoin, and in many of these companies, it changes from one to another how much discount it is. And for some of them, you have to click the link to get the discount, but most of them is just by using the discount code Love is Bitcoin.
Awesome. Awesome. What are some of the different companies that you guys have promoting right, or that you guys are promoting right now?
Well, of course, Panties for Bitcoin, but we're also with Bitcoin Diaries. She makes it's more focused on women and clothes.
Mm-hmm.
We are working with like the hardware wallets. We have a discount for the Jade. Um, we have for like the metal storage solutions. Like we have like 3 or 4 different ones. You can check them out in the site. We have a discount for Start 9. So you can be your own, how's it called? Well,
Node
you can
Runner.
build yeah, you can run a node, but it's more like a server. Like you can be your own server
Okay.
and stuff like that. Yeah, many different companies.
So then you get to test all these different products out.
Some of them,
Some of
not
them.
all. I mean, maybe sometimes it's not me, like someone else of the team is testing them because since I live like very far away, it can be hard to ship here. So it depends of the type of product because some companies are more interested in like, for example, for me to create more content or like videos or like wearing the stuff. So they ship it, of course. But then other kind of products is more interested in like, for example, testing them. Like I think Danny from our podcast Heartbeat,
Mm-hmm.
she received like or I don't, I think, I hope I'm not like making a spoiler, but I think she received like a product from Star 9 and she is very technical. She knows so much. She's really, really smart girl. So she's going to make tutorials for people to learn how to set this up, how to use it and everything. So it made sense for her to have it. Like, I don't know how to do that. So yeah.
Good, good. And again, it's going to be important to have that type of content out there to help people learn at their own pace, of course. But yeah, no, that's awesome. Um, okay, well, we've covered a lot. I'm sure that there's probably a lot more to cover. I'd love to have you back on again at some point too to discuss any updates and everything. But thanks again for joining us today, Flo. I guess any last points, any last remarks or a message for the people again?
Just be supportive. Be supportive of your favorite Bitcoin company, your favorite Bitcoin artist. I think today we need to reach in order to reach more people, we have to help each other. I see this in the Bitcoin ecosystem, but don't forget about it. Like in Noster, for example, like we are the algorithm. If you like something, click the repost button, or sub it, of course. But yeah, that's that also for any social media. Like if you like some content, do repost it because that's the only way we can reach more people.
Awesome. No, I agree. But before I started on X too, like I've seen so many different posts that were originally from X, like maybe on Reddit or this different investing app, but it doesn't get there unless the people support it. So no, that's great advice, and I'll definitely be doing that more too. But thanks again for joining us today, Flo. I hope you have a great day.
Thank you so much for having me. This was very fun.
Awesome. Thank you.